This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 1821, Building Credit, How to and Why It's Important, by Schroeder-Gardner of MakingSenseOfCents.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. And now let's get right to today's post as we optimize your life. Building Credit, How to and Why It's Important, by Schroeder-Gardner of MakingSenseOfCents.com. The other day, my friend asked me at dinner what she should do in order to build her credit. Her boyfriend and her are looking to buy a house soon since they lived in an apartment together for 3 years and want something of their own. They're very responsible with their money, but have always paid for everything in cash. They have one credit card and the limit is only $300, so she doesn't have much to help her build her credit. I then, of course, talked away about the numerous things she should or could be doing. I love spewing out lots of random financial knowledge. My credit score is a little under 800 right now. I hate that I'm always thinking about my credit score, and I let my life revolve around it. But I just want that number to be as high as it can get. However, lately I've been guilty of signing up for credit cards for the rewards. Right now I have 3, but I don't really care if my credit drops a little because I don't need the credit for anything right now. I already have a house and cars. Also because my score won't drastically drop by signing up for new cards. Does anyone advise against what I'm doing? And then I thought some of you would probably want to know about it also. So that's where we are today. Having a good credit score can be useful in life. Unless you plan on paying for a house, cars, etc., all in cash, then credit is pretty much needed for these. A credit score allows banks and companies to gauge your riskiness to them. Yes, it does sound like one big circle. You need credit in order to get credit. Here are my tips. Number 1, get a credit card. Only do this if you can trust yourself. A credit card can be a great tool if you want a good credit score. However, it can also lead to many bad things if you aren't careful. So please don't get a credit card unless you can use it responsibly. There are other ways to get credit if you aren't going to be responsible with a credit card. Number 2, keep your utilization rate low. Keeping your balances below 30% of what you can borrow is important. For example, if your credit card limit is $1,000, try not to have a balance over $300. This is the main thing that I try doing. And your utilization rate has a big impact on your overall credit score. Number 3, average account age is important. If you have a credit card that you've had for much longer than others, I would recommend keeping it if there are no yearly fees that would otherwise make you want to close it. You also don't want to open up too many new accounts too quickly. Your riskiness is also based on what your average account age is. So if most of your accounts are relatively new, that will not look the greatest to your potential lenders. Number 4, pay your balance off every month and on time. It's very important to pay your bills on time. Even if you have a low credit score, many banks will ask to see if you've ever been late for other payments, such as your cell phone or utility bills, in order to see how risky you are. When we began looking for houses a couple of years ago, we had a low credit score, mainly because we were young and had not really thought about credit. We paid for nearly everything with cash. But we had lived together for 2 years already, so we had a lot of bills that we were paying. Our lender asked us to give them proof that we had paid all of our bills on time. Because of this, we were able to secure our house loan and were approved. And number 5, check your credit report. Make sure there is nothing on your report that shouldn't be there. This is really important. There are often mistakes on credit reports, and unless you say something, they will stay on there. Here's what to do if or when you find an error. Number 1, you should be constantly checking items on your credit report, especially if you're like me and things like this keep on happening. I'm subscribed to a credit reporting agency and I check mine every month. Number 2, When you eventually do find an error, contact the credit bureau where you found the error. You can call to get more information on it, but make sure that you write. When you write, include the date, your name, address, and the problem. Number 3, if there's an error with more than one credit bureau, then do the same thing for all 3 credit bureaus. Number 4, include a copy of your credit report and the page that has the error. Make sure you don't include any originals of anything. Originals, of course, stay with you. Number 5, include your proof that this is not you. It was very hard for me to find proof that a house wasn't mine. How was I supposed to prove that? I was 13. Who the heck remembers what they were doing on an exact day when they were 13? I was probably at school when I allegedly bought this house. And number 6, wait for a response. Be responsible. I want to say this again. Make sure that if you do decide to open a credit card in order to build credit, that you're extremely responsible. If you don't think you'll be good with a credit card, then there are other ways to build credit as well. You just listened to the post titled Building Credit, How To and Why It's Important by Michelle Schroeder-Gardner of MakingSenseOfSense.com. I have to say that while I have a high credit score, it's never been something that I've been really focused on. I see it as the natural result of good financial habits that benefited me when I bought my house a couple of years ago. I also think it's important to remember that a credit score isn't really a good indicator of your financial health. It's simply an indicator of your ability to pay back the money you borrow. I used to think that having a high credit score meant that I was doing well financially. But you can be drowning in debt with a fantastic credit score if you make payments on time and have a low utilization of your overall available credit. A much better number to focus on is your net worth. I've been able to maintain a high credit score by putting most of my spending on credit cards and then paying them in full each month. But my reason for doing this isn't really for the credit score. It's more for the convenience and to get the credit card points. When it comes to your credit score, there's a point of diminishing returns. To qualify for the best rewards credit cards, a home mortgage with the lowest interest rates, or personal loans with the best terms, you usually need a solid job history and income, a record of responsible credit use, and a FICO score of 730 or above. So while my 820 score might feel good, it's really not getting me that much more favorable terms. And that will do it for today. Have a great day and weekend, and I'll be back here tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.